Well, hey, welcome back everyone to On the Reel. This is our news edition where we discuss all things on the reel. I'm your host, Steve Johnson, and always thank you for tuning in. Joining me today is Mr. Johnson.
How y'all doing out there in TV land?
All right, and Mr. Woods.
What up, what up, what up, what up?
So, before we forget, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for coming along on this journey with us.
Yes, yes.
And if you could do us a favor, just please like, subscribe, follow us, because if you don't, we won't be able to feed our kids. And then they'll starve, and it'll be on you.
Oh my goodness.
Do you want that on your conscience? I'm just
Be
putting it
on
out
your
there. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Well, let's just get things started off today. There has been some news this week by the way of the Fast and Furious series. Tyrese seems to be having some trouble. Mr. Johnson, why don't you tell us about this?
Well, Tyrese needs to shut
Well,
his
explain
B8 up.
explain why, because
What?
some people may
Right.
not know what's going on with Tyrese.
This guy, Tyrese, he needs to know his role and shut his mouth.
But why? What is happening?
Basically,
got the belt
Tyrese is
there.
saying too much on the damn internet, and he need to cut that Twitter finger stuff out.
Okay, let me help you out, Mr. Johnson. In case you don't know what's
The
going
why,
on,
right?
with
Yeah, there we
Basically,
go. There we
Tyrese.
go.
Hey,
with
I got it.
Tyrese.
I'll take care of this one, and then we'll come back to you. So what is happening is there has been a feud with Tyrese Gibson and Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Okay.
This is over the Fast and Furious franchise. Apparently, allegedly, Tyrese is upset with The Rock because Universal has decided to push back Fast and the Furious 9 until 2019 or 2020 so that they can move forward on a spin-off movie for Hobbs, which is Dwayne The Rock Johnson's
The Rock's
character.
Okay.
Tyrese believes that this is somehow The Rock's fault and his doing.
I thought they were playing around.
And I thought it was a joke as well, but apparently he is upset with The Rock about it.
This is real beef.
Real beef. Now that said, give us your take.
At $13,000 a month, what more do you want from me?
Now what are we listening to there? Who is that?
That is Tyrese.
Tyrese.
Man.
Sounds like he's crying.
Yo, basically, Tyrese is saltier than a whole pack of Ritz crackers, saltier than some Lay's,
Oh,
saltier than salt and saltines right now, saltier than Lowry's right now
Saltier
because
than salt.
The Rock is hot out there in these streets.
Is he salty than adobo?
Adobo? Sazon?
Adobo's pretty salty.
Yeah, that's pretty salty.
Pretty salty.
Some MSG out here, but he's very salty right now.
You said Tyrese is raising people's blood pressure and
Yeah.
giving them diabetes.
But he need to cut off. He lost his dark skinness. Dark skinned people don't cry. Not like that. You can't be crying on Instagrams. Like, think about this. What is the thought process of a dude to stay there and you crying and then looking at your phone crying and then looking at the video and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna send and then hit send and then send it to the internet. Who does that?
Right.
What type of dude does that? Looks at themselves crying and then sends it to the internet.
Apparently Tyrese does that.
Apparently.
Tyrese is the
Right,
type of dude
word.
that. But I mean, I don't know what's going on. He's like whatever mental breakdown he's going on with. But he's mad at The Rock but he shouldn't be mad at The Rock because The Rock is the one who reinvigorated the whole Fast and Furious franchise. It was like a cold fart out here, but Rock made it the hot, sugar honey iced tea.
Okay. Mr. Woods, what do you think about this thing?
Well, as I said previously, I thought it was just they were playing around. I don't really pay attention to that little feuding on Instagram or something like that. I thought it was just for fun. So, as you just explained that this is a real thing that he's mad because the Hobbs movie is coming out. To me, what does that matter to you? You're a part. It isn't the Fast and the Furious, isn't the cast members, it's like 12 of them or 13 of them? 24 maybe? I don't know. Like, they're just still interjecting
His
lifeblood.
statement was, "I'm sorry to my fans,
Uh-huh.
but if The Rock returns,
He won't be Roman.
Roman will not. You will not see Roman in Fast 9.
Who cares?
Wait, so hold on, time out. I didn't know that. He went out there and said
Ultimatum, put it out there.
Tyrese is giving an ultimatum.
Tyrese
that if
Twitter
the,
fingers.
Hold up.
If
Let
The
me read
Rock
the quote.
is coming,
No. Let's get the word from the horse's mouth.
He said, hello, world. Hello, loyal fans and loved ones of our Fast universe. I'm sorry to announce that if Dwayne is in Fast 9, there will be no more Roman Pierce. You mess with the family and my daughter's survival, I mess with yours. Close your eyes, dude. You're a clown. Candy ass bitch made. All my real one. Men on integrity. My real ones out here stand up. Folks that GP to the gym. That I guess go to the gym.
Right.
That go to the gym and get big naturally. No juice, no OJ. Spin off, huh? Spin off these nuts, selfish champ.
This
Pause.
is Tyrese?
Notice who's got his arm around my shoulder and who's standing alone. Our children matter. I mean, this is some clown shit.
Hold on. So he's bringing in, talking about messing with my daughters.
Yeah, and the picture is. I wish we had it up here.
Go to my camera.
The picture.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my goodness. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, why are you mad at another man eating? You know what I mean? And it's not like they're not going to make the next Fast franchise.
He didn't do anything behind his back. That's the whole thing. The studio came to The Rock because they're like, yo, we see you hot out here. You doing numbers.
But The Rock said he wanted a Hobbs movie or something
He didn't go to the studio. The studio came to him. It wasn't like he pitched it to them.
Right.
They came to him because it's just like they're trying to expand the world.
Right.
And like, it's just like, and then come back to it.
Who's in control of the Fast franchise?
Universal.
And
it's like this.
Wait, time out. Hold on, real quick. Let me jump in. Isn't Universal is looking for their own universe?
Avengers.
Well, look,
that's what I was just about to say.
They have a universe in
Well,
the Fast franchise. It is the second highest grossing movie this year.
That's what they're trying to
do.
do.
The last one came out. It made the only movie that made more than this thing this year was Beauty and the Beast, and it was only by $30 million. The latest Fast and Furious movie made $1.23 billion with a
billion dollars.
Wow.
Dr. Evil voice.
And he's over here crying on the Instagrams.
And the last Fast and Furious movie made more than the first Avengers. So here's the thing.
Go ahead.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
I have some thoughts.
Go ahead.
It's about to go in.
Give us your take.
Yeah, I see you adjusting your seat.
Here's the problem.
I don't understand it.
What would be gained from doing this? Because what Tyrese is doing now is putting the entire franchise in jeopardy. This is a franchise that should not have been this big.
He's shitting the money bed. You never shit the money bed.
So here's the thing. You cannot be out there volatile like that because the whole franchise is built on what they like Vin Diesel says it like 5,000 times. Family. But if you're saying that things is not good and we're not a family, maybe that ruins the magic that is behind this thing.
Didn't Vin Diesel and Rock have a beef?
But Vin Diesel was professional about that, right?
We don't know that they had a beef. It's just The Rock, because what I read is just like he felt he had a problem with the dudes on the set. He didn't have a problem with the females on the set. You feel me? You feel like it was diva behavior, and Tyrese is definitely a diva. If you look at his behavior with, his group TGT with him, Tank, and Genuine, just the stuff that he does and just the way that he moves, he definitely be on some diva stuff.
He made some good music, though.
Yeah, to be coming out there and then putting, personal business on Twitter and being Twitter fingers on some Meek Mill stuff, it's just like what's going on with dark-skinned people right now,
Right.
It's just like nothing to do with dark skin.
Yo, man, that's some real light skin stuff.
All to do with Tyrese.
All to do with Tyrese.
All to do with Tyrese over here.
But back to what I was saying. Here's the thing. If you think that this is The Rock's fault,
right,
you do not understand. The lowest studio executive has more power than the highest celebrity.
Okay.
Now, if the studio says we're doing this movie, we're doing this movie.
Okay.
And so I'm telling you right now, you may not see whether he wants to, whether this was a bad moment or not, you may not see Tyrese come back in Fast 9 because if you are volatile
that could be their decision.
like that,
they could just say like,
they could
no.
just be like, look. And here's the
He's
look.
done.
I like Tyrese. Right. I enjoy seeing him in movies.
Right.
He's not like a good actor, but
he's charismatic.
I appreciate his energy. Right. Here's the thing, though. If you told me that Fast and the Furious 9 didn't have Tyrese, I'd be like, all right.
Who cares?
It's not not like anybody's like, well,
nobody cares.
Tyrese is not. Furthermore, look.
It's all about Vin Diesel and The Rock.
At this point, if you
and Jason
said
Statham.
if Vin Diesel gave that ultimatum, I'd have been like, look, we just gonna have to go for The Rock, man.
Yeah,
like,
no, but that's how it is.
The movie is
I
all
don't
about
know
The Rock, Vin Diesel,
look, and you can put
Jason Statham.
Vin Diesel's arm around you.
Right.
Like, don't get it twisted for a second. Vin Diesel is a professional. Right? When the news came out that they were pushing back Fast 9, you know what Vin Diesel said?
What? Who cares? He's doing Guardians of the Galaxy. He getting paid millions of dollars to say, I am Groot.
He said, I'm glad it'll give it some time to breathe. It'll give me some time to breathe.
Okay.
Right?
Yo,
whether he wanted it to come out or not, this is how you do this thing because this is a precious franchise and it's a very unique franchise.
Right.
It is a thing. They started out
it's a
stealing DVD players. It is the most diverse, like, billion-dollar franchise.
It's ridiculous.
You can find.
This movie is just like they have superpowers, but they're human.
Yeah,
it's just like they should be dead.
Well,
So
white teas.
That's my point. From the studio's
That's a
perspective,
superpower.
this is a billion-dollar franchise. And this is the last thing I want to say about this. Here's some advice to Tyrese, who is absolutely not listening.
This is free advice for Tyrese.
Free
he's
advice.
not listening to you, though.
Of course he's not listening. So
free smoke.
Here's the thing. If the problem is that they're not doing a Fast 9 movie.
Yeah.
Tyrese, Mr. Gibson, please understand this. Them doing a Hobbs movie proves the model that this is bigger than just the one tentpole film.
Right.
If you can now turn this into an actual connected universe, guess what? Hobbs proves the model. It only makes the franchise stronger.
Right.
And guess what? If Hobbs does well, they're going to want to do more
They
spinoffs.
could do a backstory.
Maybe you do a Roman and whoever Ludacris plays, and you'll do it like it's a Bad Boys movie. And then now you've spun off into your own mini franchise that teams into this. And then when you get together, the Fast movies will be like the Avengers. So don't shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. But basically,
Jeez, man.
him doing all this is no big studio will want to work with him. He was begging to be in the last Transformers movie. They wouldn't put him in it. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
and
he
now
had
he's
messed up and said something there, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, but it's just
this is my point. How many times is he going to
nobody wants
mess up?
Yeah, nobody wants to deal with a diva. You know what I mean?
Can't
be difficult. That's what messed up Monique. You feel me? That's what messed up Monique. From it's said that you're difficult to work with. Nobody's gonna want to work with you, and it's just like if they're trying to build the franchise and make more money, and then you causing negative, press on the film that hasn't even come out yet, then why would they even put you in the next movie?
We live in an outrage culture where people will, and we'll talk about that later, but we live in an outrage culture where people will boycott a film just because you said something crazy. So again, if I'm a studio exec, I don't know. I don't know if I'm risking my billion-dollar franchise because you're upset. Yeah. If Roman's not gonna be there, let me tell you something, Tyrese. This is some more advice. They can recast Roman.
Yeah, they can.
No one will know.
And that's the thing.
The series moved on without Paul Walker. It can move on without you, buddy.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Rip. R.I.P. Paul Walker.
Yeah, he should invest his money more wisely.
I mean, I don't know what he's doing with his money, and look.
But the whole crying on the internet and then talking about, I have millionaire and billionaire friends. Why aren't you there for me and I'm there for you and all this other stupid crap he was talking.
He wasn't there for him with money.
It's just like, but this is all an act because he's trying to pay less child support. Well, because he's paying in the video. He said $13,000 a month. What more do you want from me? Because he's trying to pay less child support. Because his baby mom's just trying to get him for $81,000 a month.
But is it possible?
So, and she's been stopping him from seeing his kid for like 3 months.
Is there a possibility that
he flew a plane over his daughter's school that said, "Daddy's love you" on the birthday, and on her birthday, and then the mother tried to say that violates the restraining order.
No,
the
listen.
restraining order was just lifted today, by the way.
Congratulations!
Congratulations
I'm
to
happy
Tyrese for
Look,
that.
here's
But
the thing.
all of this was just an act to show the courts something. But he didn't. The whole rock stuff is real corny.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Real quick, do you think
because he's
that
trying to play
it's,
broke? Because he's still saying in the videos that I lost all my money. It's just like I don't have. It's like I spent all my money on legal fees or whatever. Because he know this bro trying to get him for $81,000 a month. $13,000 a month is ridiculous, but $81,000 a month.
Right.
So he's there showing like, what more do you? And if you should watch the whole video, beyond the funny part, he was there saying he's like, I don't know if this is violating whatever with the courts, or can I even say this on video? Am I violating whatever? He's just like, I just want to see my daughter. So it's an act.
I'm just wondering if there might we got to move on from this, but I'm just wondering, is there possibility that there's some type of mental, you know what I mean?
Listen,
He's an
Instability.
actor. He's acting.
Honestly,
That he might be going through something.
No, and that's
these
the thing
things
that
are
we-
real.
that
Like we could talk about the money and we could talk about it's an act or whatever, but relationships, anyone who's in a relationship, there's also the period of good, bad, or indifferent. There's a period where you have to remove yourself from it, and everyone deals with it differently. You know what
Definitely,
I mean?
I agree with you.
So if you're in a marriage, if you're and there's this like synergy, and I'm not gonna get all again, like let's move forward from this, but there's this thing, and when you break from that, it takes time. And so you can see it when people are doing acting or professional athletes and stuff like that, and they're supposed to go to their job and do what they have to do and act professional, but their mind is on something else. And so again, you guys might be right that he's just acting and he's clowning and all this and that, but we don't know about how the levels of stress of the financial implications and what's going on with his daughters, and how
That is
crazy
definitely-
his ex or baby moms or whomever she is, and what's going on there, and what's happening and spiraling in his head, and how he's going through some form of escapism from that. But again, I don't know the details, and I agree with you that he's bugging about spazzing out saying if Rock comes back, there's no
Yeah, because nobody cares.
Notice.
like whatever.
Okay. Last thing, because we got to move this thing.
Yes, as a father, I know what he's going through, because I've been there where with my first baby moms, where she took my kid away and I couldn't see my kid. Even sometimes now, it's just like I relate, because if there's a difficult relationship with the baby moms, it's just like some parents are spiteful, and you should never bring the kid into your personal business, and especially for money, because you feel that he has however much money, you feel like you deserve more when you're already getting a ridiculous amount of money. It's just like, because you have a child by somebody doesn't mean you deserve XYZ because he has this much.
I don't want to get into.
I'm not
how
going
much
to get into all of that,
deserve
but
from
it's
what,
just like
'cause
I
every
relate to
situation
it,
is
because
different.
it's just like, when I couldn't see my child, and I didn't know where my child was, or I didn't see my child for a month or whatever. That hurts. But you don't be on your phone and then crying in your phone and then be like, watch the video and then send it. That's.
I mean, so here's the thing, and this is literally the last thing I'm saying. We are moving on now. So my thing is this: I understand family troubles, and we have to remember that these are real people.
Right.
But the other thing we have to remember is that we are talking about this, like you said, Mr. Johnson, because he put it out there on the phone for everyone to
when
see.
you put it for people to dissect, people will ridicule you.
And if you put it out there, then people are going to discuss it. That said, these are real lives at stake, and everybody has like family or issues. My only thing is twofold, and then we are moving on. Is firstly, what does this have to do with The Rock? and secondly, thirdly,
no twos.
Thirdly, you are doing yourself and your career a disservice
Oh,
when you
nobody's
do this.
gonna-
And
know,
when
he's messing
you
up the money.
are
Messing up
at
Church's
that
money.
level, I'm sorry, you don't get to have those bad days. Not without consequences.
True.
And we all have bad days because we're all human, but there's a lot of people's livelihood, and it's not just the rich people.
Right.
It's the cameramen. It's all of those people that
Right.
go into making these things that we love to watch. Like those, you are putting a lot of people's livelihoods
that's a good point.
at stake. So just be cognizant of that. You are in a position that a lot of people would love to be in, and you do have certain levels of responsibility that other people don't have.
Yeah.
So
he
that
has 9
says-
million followers. You can't be out there saying crazy stuff about the studio,
Right,
And they're
and-
trying to make money.
And that said, we are
On to
going
the
to
next-
move on to the next one.
Justice League.
So, there's a lot to talk about Justice League. There's a lot. This is a big movie. It's the first time all of these people are together, and for some reason, Superman is still not in that poster.
I saw.
But we all
I
know
was
he's
in
in it.
Target, and they showed Superman on the lunchbox.
But he's not in the poster. Why? Because they made the decision to
Paint
kill
themselves into-
Superman, and they wrote themselves into a corner.
Superman's
But we
dead?
know he's alive.
He's dead.
They showed you
had
at the end
a
of
funeral for
Batman
him.
versus Superman
Okay.
that he's alive.
No, rocks came up.
yes.
So here's the thing.
his heart beat.
Speaking of Superman, the actor Henry Cavill that plays Superman had some things to say about the whole DC film universe.
Yes.
Yabi, do you want to give us a quote and tell us exactly what he said?
All right, so this is just a little snippet, and one of the things he was touching on was in regards to Marvel and the relationship that DCEU or the DCU, however it's.
DCEU is actually not a thing.
So DCU.
It doesn't really have a name, but we can go for DCU.
Okay, so with DCU, and this is what he says, and I quote: "Even if Marvel didn't exist, we'd struggle. There was a style they were going for, an attempt to be different and look at things from a slightly different perspective, which hasn't necessarily worked. Yes, it has made money, but it has not been a critical success. It hasn't given everyone the sensation which superheroes should give the viewer." That was
Okay, hold on.
He said, "Yo,
That
these
was
movies is
Superman
trash."
that said that.
He said these
yeah,
movies is
that's
trash.
crazy.
He was just like, it made money because of name recognition and people want to see these characters together, but we all know that these movies is trash. Basically.
So, and this quote was in
Superman
relation
said
to
this.
the struggle that DC, like they
The
were, and they were
struggle.
asking, well, why is DC having this struggle with connecting to the fans compared to what Marvel is doing? And he just flat out
Because they
said, even
tried
if
to-
Marvel didn't exist, we'd still be in the struggle. That's crazy.
But
It's
honestly,
the
I
execution.
appreciate that he can
The
say
honesty.
that. I appreciate that, like, because you don't get that. You
How
get
so?
a lot of fake speak from actors. They're like,
What
no,
the hell are they gonna
everything's
do?
great.
What are they gonna do, fire
the
him?
studio's
You
great.
don't-
DC's amazing. Like, Ben Affleck's like, I'll play a monkey for Matt Reeves. Like,
But you don't
They
think
ain't
he
about
should
to fire
kind
him.
of pull up off of that horse and just kind of be like, well, you know,
Everything's great.
not that everything
no,
is great, but
here's
You
the
don't want to
thing.
be no sad Affleck.
I think
Hello,
that,
darkness,
I think
my
that
old
it
friend.
shows contrition and it shows that
I
they
come to talk
understand.
with you
Because the
again.
worst thing to be is if these movies aren't connecting and then no one gets it and they just keep going in that direction.
right.
So
Yo, they trash, B.
that statement says that he understands. And look, maybe he's mad at the way they're treating Superman. I don't know.
I do have another quote that
He does have another quote.
he speaks
there
on.
Give us your take.
Does he have anything good to say?
Well, he makes a mention.
He's like, I like this check.
This is this is in relation to the strides that he sees DC is making in terms of their direction going forward. And he says, I feel like now the right mistakes have been made and they haven't been pandered to, and we can start telling the stories in the way they need to be told. It is even better to come back from a mistake or stylistic error into the correct vein because it will make it seem that much stronger. And Wonder Woman was the first step in that right direction.
So to me, that reads like
They're gonna make him more
jab,
happy.
jab, stab, jab, right at the jugular of Zack Snyder. Like
Oh,
what
man.
a stylistic error was meant. Jeez.
Well, I'm
Throw him under the bus, why don't you?
But
Yeah,
I'm wondering
but-
if he means stylistic in the sense of coming back to that last scene of him having to make that life or death decision
that
between
death decision.
death or death decision
Okay.
of snapping Zod's neck or watching the family burn.
Yeah,
or
So Holy Chris.
getting him killed. And again, look, I get it. Like, it's not your daddy's Superman. I understand that, and I am
like
a
the movie.
huge listen. Let me finish. I think like Man of Steel is in my top 10 superhero movies of all time. What?
That shit is trash.
Oh,
nigga.
you
What?
ready to
I'm
fight
sorry.
on it? Okay,
I'm sorry.
all right.
You
Big
wild.
whoop. Want to fight about it? Look, and it's all subjective. But
That
my
movie's
point
trash.
is, I loved that film. I have small quibbles.
I think you fell
But-
in love with the score. That's what pulled you.
Oh,
Yeah,
that score is
Hans
amazing.
Zimmer.
Yeah,
Speaking of
exactly.
scores,
Trash.
and this isn't on our news roll today, but I guess it's related to Justice League. Danny Elfman is doing the score for Justice League. They
Okay.
pulled off Hans Zimmer. Hang on. He is bringing back the 1989 Batman theme because he's giving everyone a theme, their own theme.
Really
So,
interesting.
yeah, they used it in the 89 cartoon and in the Tim Burton movie.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Batman's theme now, and they're still keeping the Hans Zimmer score, but they're gonna throw in hints of the Richard Donner original.
Really?
What do you
Okay.
call it? They're gonna like blend that. And
Did-
Wonder Woman has a theme. Everybody's gonna have their own theme.
Oh,
And
man.
honestly,
You don't think
that
they're
is the
putting too
one
many
thing.
hands in the pot, man?
I don't think so. That is, and we're gonna talk about that in 1 second. But that's the one thing that DC does better than Marvel is their themes.
Well, yes, I agree with that, but
And
I don't
even
know,
with
man.
the new films, like Marvel
I
themes
can't
are
say
not
that
memorable
if you-
except for the Avengers.
No, they don't have any memorable.
There's no
themes?
memorable themes
No
like the
themes?
score.
Ooga chaka, ooga,
That's
ooga,
not a
ooga.
score.
Chaka.
That's
Yes,
not
it
their
is.
score.
That's not a
That's
score.
not a score.
That's
Man.
someone else's
That's
song.
someone else's. Yeah.
That's still part of the score.
Yeah, but a score is
You
something.
can't tell me with the Thor movie because we talked about it earlier that song,
Yeah, that's Led Zeppelin.
Hammer of the Gods.
Again,
Valhalla,
that's Led
I am
Zeppelin.
coming.
That is
That song- they're using an old
utilizing
song,
someone's song.
But the
as
song
opposed
is
to,
so perfect for it because
Yes,
it goes.
it is.
If
It is.
something is in existence because I'm a person, who I'll quote rap lyrics whenever anybody says anything, I will fill it in with a rap lyric if such one exists, or I'll sing a lyric, But it's just like that song goes so perfectly with it, so it's still the soundtrack.
Yeah, but soundtracks are different from scores.
Right.
You use a soundtrack you sort of piggyback off of a soundtrack to create a moment. But a score is something that belongs to
Exclusively.
this character, right?
Right.
Because there are people that
So you
will
feel
have
that
never.
song didn't belong
You're
to
not.
him
You're
in the
not
movie?
understanding. You're not understanding what I'm saying.
If
That is a song
movie,
that has already
Yeah.
existed, and
Yeah.
people know Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
and will think
Yeah.
of the Immigrant song. Is that what it's called?
I guarantee you from now on, whenever people hear
No.
that song, they will think of the Thor
No,
movie.
people that saw the
No.
Thor movie.
Yes.
But I'm saying people that were born before you and I,
Right.
people that listen to that don't
They was
care
like,
about these
"Woo!"
movies.
Right.
Like
Led
that is
Zeppelin.
a Led Zeppelin
Yeah,
song. It is
man.
not a Thor song. You may have learned about it because of Thor.
No,
but
I've
that
heard it
is-
before that.
So you heard it before, but
But
it
every
is
time
not
I hear it now, I'm
Thor's-
going to be thinking about
yes,
Thor.
you'll
If
think
you
about
see it,
Thor.
and a lot of people
That's
are going to
great.
see Thor.
But what that is using that existing song as a crutch, as opposed to creating a new score that is just for
It's just
this
like how-
character. There's a thing about scores, and I'm saying using a soundtrack is very different from a score. And again, when we're talking about scores, you may say that Marvel picks better other people's music, but score wise,
score a
DC
movie
has it
without
on lock.
DC
I'm sorry.
do.
You can understand that you can score a movie with pre-existing songs.
No,
No.
that's not an original score. What I'm talking about is an original score.
You don't think that they're
Soundtrack-
putting too many ingredients in the pot?
DC, no.
With
what?
well,
If
now
you're
they're
playing
cutting the
a song-
time, the run
If you're
time,
playing a
and
song during a movie and the song relates to the scene that's playing out, that's not scoring it.
No.
Okay, so
Th-
if
I'm just saying.
no. When you're watching a TV show or whatever, and they're playing a song, and the song whatever's happening relates to what's going on the screen, somebody puts that song onto the the footage that we're seeing.
yeah, they
and
don't
that's
own those
scoring it.
rights.
Yeah, they don't own the song. They pay
Then
to
it's
use
not
it.
an original
but that's
score.
not original.
That's what I'm talking about. Like
Original.
you can talk about having music in a movie,
Yeah.
but scoring a movie means you have an orchestra that will come and create
Yeah. A soundtrack.
not a soundtrack,
not
a
a
score,
not a soundtrack,
a score specifically for
yeah.
this thing.
But a score is
so
a soundtrack.
an operatic
It's-
score.
It's in the same. It's in the same.
But
vein.
it's not the same thing.
It's not exactly the same,
right?
thing, but it's in the same vein.
It's different from saying you're gonna like again.
Score is a
There
score.
was a score to Thor, but you don't remember that. Right, you remember the song, the Led Zeppelin
Because
song
those
they
the
used.
score, like the whatever operatic or instrumental things they use, don't have a name unless you bought it and it tells you the name of it. So you're not gonna know it if you're hearing it originally.
No, but
because
here's
it's
the thing:
memorable.
you know when you hear
You know
the
it's Superman theme song.
exactly. You
know
know
Wonder
that
It's an
Woman theme
original
song.
score.
Yeah.
right, but you know that, and you know the original theme song. You know the Star Wars theme. When you hear it, your brain goes straight to that. That's the difference.
Yeah.
When you create an original score for this movie. So like I said, we're not talking about who's picking better music. I'm saying original scores. DC, that's the one thing that DC's doing
Man,
better
that's
than
just
Marvel.
Hans Zimmer, man. Give Hans Zimmer his
But
credit.
you don't
No,
think,
they're using Danny Elfman now.
Now.
You don't think again, I keep asking this question because, now they're cutting the time, the runtime.
That was a good transition there. I like your
Cut
style.
that time.
So
was that
speaking
Josh
of time,
Whedon or yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of time, so the official, there we go. The official runtime has been announced for the Justice League film, and it clocks in at 1 hour and 59 minutes and some seconds, and that includes the credits. And we all know credits these days are like 10 minutes because of all the
crazy.
CG they have.
That's a lot of cutting.
So
a lot with all them
the
characters.
original cut was supposed to be closer to 3 hours because it was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So
You know what's gonna be whack if like Superman only shows up for the last 10 minutes of the movie.
that could happen.
That's gonna suck.
That could happen, and it's all because. So I have things to say about that, but in as it relates to this runtime,
Right.
before we poo it, right? Understand, we just saw Thor Ragnarok, which
Do you
we
think it's gonna
loved.
be better?
That was 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
So
wanted more.
and how many characters did you have in that? By the way, the original Star Wars movie also 2 hours and maybe 2 hours and 3 minutes.
Right.
How they introduced this whole big, largest franchise in
the
history.
Justice League.
I understand it's the Justice League, but again, if you can do these other movies where you introduce all these things, Indiana Jones, these things are 2 hour movies where you.
Indiana Jones was the focal point, man.
Okay,
This
but
is
not
the
Star Wars.
Justice
Okay,
League.
Star Wars.
Yeah,
right?
well, you had Han, you had Luke, you had Leia. You know what I mean?
When did Lando come in? Was that Empire Strikes
that was
Back?
Empire Strikes Back. He had nothing to do with
Okay,
it.
well, you still, but you had Han, Luke, Leia. You had. When did Yoda come in? Was that also?
He was in there from the first movie.
He was in
No,
there
Yoda
from the
was
first
in,
movie.
yeah.
So we have Yoda. Don't forget. Why can't I think of his name now?
Jabba the Hutt.
That too, but
No, Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan, yes.
Obi-Wan, Darth
So
Vader. But
again, if you're
like, nah,
introducing
man.
all these people, like my point. Okay, here's another one for you. You'll know this one, LeVar. The Princess Bride. How many amazing
Actually, I don't
characters
think,
did you have
Yoda
in
was
that
the first
movie?
one.
Andre
I
the
gotta think about
Giant.
it again.
Come on, man. You had this one who was in the Wonder Woman movie who died. What's her name? The actress.
Robin Wright.
Yeah. I mean, that was a great movie.
So again, it can be done. We've been
It's the
spoiled.
Justice League, man.
I understand it's the Justice League.
2
We can be
hours.
spoiled.
No, you said actually it's like an hour and 58 minutes. Or something like
59 minutes, but that every runtime
that.
you
You
hear
still got to
includes
explain
what
Flash. You have to explain.
they already did that. Or here's the thing.
Aquaman. You have
Here's
to
the thing.
explain Aquaman.
They showed him in what do you call it? Here's the thing.
They showed
Aquaman
him
is
in
still the movie.
previews.
Or no, they showed him in BVS.
They
What,
showed
with that
all of
little
them that
cutscene
end.
of
So they
him
already
them
exist.
on the looking
Here's
on.
the
I
thing.
don't know, man.
That
Here's
was
the
so
thing.
Too
corny
many
how they
hands in
did
the
that.
pot.
Before we say that every movie needs to be 3 hours,
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying like this movie has been chopped, cut, scissored, redone, re-edited. Music is taken out that
seems
you're
so
telling
short.
me now, adding some new music. That's what I mean about so many
That
hands
seems
in
so
this
short
pot.
because it's just like from what they showed us with Aquaman and not wanting to be in it, and Flash is immediately like, oh, I need friends, yeah,
And then
you know what I'm saying. But Aquaman don't want to be down, so it's just like I guess it's just like half an hour of him saying, "Nah, I'm not messing with you," and then, "Oh, nah, I'm down with y'all," and then at the end, Superman comes and saves the day.
And then not only with the movie time and why I keep coming about this too many hands and I'm getting worried, but there's something with the with the reviews? Like, there's an embargo or like what's
I
going
mean,
on?
there's an
Hold on.
embargo on everything.
There's a lot happening
I want
here,
to
man.
come back to the reviews for a second, but I do want to say one thing about this runtime. And I don't know what it means, but I will say this. With all these changes and all these hands in the pot you're talking about,
Right.
this says that Warner Brothers wants this to be the greatest movie it can possibly be. So they said, you know what? We are going to get one of the greatest composers
Okay.
in Danny Elfman, who has done some of the greatest scores you've ever heard in your life that will stay with you till the day that you die.
Okay.
We're going to get Joss Whedon, who is responsible for directing not only the first, but the second, the number 1 and 2 highest grossing film of all time. Not to mention, it is his view and him putting together the Avengers of why we even have this craze in Hollywood right now for connected universes. He was part of the beginning architect for that, and Feige. But so my point is, they're saying we are going to put the best people on this thing, and we're going to make a change. And if we have to cut out a bunch of stuff that didn't work, listen. If you went back to BVS right now and you said, look, you're gonna lose 30 minutes. It's gonna be 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes, but you get no Lex. I'd have been like, all right.
See, once you said no Lex, I'm like, yo, I'm
my
with
point
it.
is, maybe they're
God,
cutting
Lex is
out
so
the
terrible.
stuff that just didn't work. And we've
Cut the
all heard
fat.
albums that were like 15 tracks, but we're like, yo, if you just would have cut out like 4 of these tracks, it would have been a classic.
That's
So
exactly
it's
why Thriller was
possible-
only 9-10 tracks.
Exactly. So my point is, I'm not gonna throw it under
Less
the
is
bus
more.
for that.
Right.
Right? I think that they are putting everything they can into this thing to make this thing be the best it can be, right? Because they know what's riding on it. If this doesn't
all
work,
that you
they
can
have to
be.
reset their whole universe. So don't think they're out there trying to put out garbage. They changed
They've
their
been
director.
putting out trash.
Now, here's the thing. There is something that does give me pause, and that is these embargoes. So apparently, and they are saying anyone who has seen the movie cannot speak about it. That's what embargo is. That is the studio or the IP holder. This happens with technology as well. If you have reviewed something, you cannot release that review to the public until we say. Now, usually when a studio has confidence in their film, they will release
it.
The embargo will be
the trigger.
lifted a week or even 2 before, because they want to get the positive buzz going. And they believe in their film so much, they'll say, go ahead, say what you want about it. We know you're going to like it. Now,
we'll see next week. If nothing comes out next week, then it might be trash.
Here's the thing. They are saying you cannot release any of your reviews until 24 hours before the movie is released.
Crazy.
Now, what does that say? We don't want. Now, it could say 2 things.
It's
I
50-50.
do have one thing in their defense, but go ahead.
Right. So, and I may be saying the same thing you're about to say, which is there are 2. Star Wars does this because they don't want any spoilers. Right. And it could be that they don't want the Superman reveal to come out, so they're saying you can't release your review until the day before.
Or maybe they don't want the Green Lantern reveal.
Exactly. Right? So they may not want that.
Oh, Lantern is going to be
and the other we don't know.
How crazy would it be if it was still Ryan Reynolds?
That would be hilarious.
Oh my God.
That would be hilarious. Honestly, I would give the movie a 10 out of 10 if they did that. Just for ballsiness. But here's the thing. The other thing is, the same thing happened with Wonder Woman, where its initial embargo date was the day before it released. And then as it got closer, they said, we're going to give it a whole week to breathe, because they had the confidence in it. So it could be that they're going to do the same thing. That's a possibility. Now, what were you going to say?
My thought was actually aligned with, they are worried that since we're in a society that everyone enjoys the negative, that people are just going to search for anything negative with this film, because that will get the most views, right? And they'll say, oh, this movie is garbage, blah, blah, blah. Don't watch it. Don't waste your time.
But I mean, people are gonna say that anyway. Let's be
right.
Let's be completely honest.
But again, because they're in such a fragile state, because they're in such a sensitive situation, right? They are worried to your credit, that they want to put out a good product. They understand that they have wet the bed multiple times and they don't want to mess this up. So they're like, okay, we really don't want anything to go wrong with this, but people will do that, and that type of negative criticism is just gonna slam their movie, because it's gonna those fans
it
who are
does
on
it
the
to any
fence.
movie, but there are people that are kind of rooting for DC to fail. Like right now, you have the Marvel fans.
As I said, I want them to win. There is room for them to do their thing.
And
too.
honestly, you have people that were just burned too many times by these middling movies. That's what I'm gonna say. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Right.
And
Yo,
again,
let's be clear.
I don't know.
Let's be clear. Suicide Squad was trash. Let's be
tell you
clear.
what, though, it made money.
But it's like Henry
700 and I don't know how
Cavill
much
said it.
million.
It's just like they make money, but that's just because people want to see these characters, and the trailers sold it. You feel me? That doesn't mean that it was
Nah, trailers ain't getting you 700 million. Like that's people
Name
going back and seeing
recognition.
it again.
good. Name and recognition will get it, and it's just
Such
like
as
worldwide.
you to convince
It's
yourself
just like
that it was
worldwide, man.
Yes.
Suicide.
I can't
I tried,
mention.
man.
So Suicide Squad wasn't trash.
It was garbage.
Oh, hot garbage. BVS wasn't trash.
Stop.
No.
Look,
I want to
move
say
on
something.
to the next topic.
Hold on.
Garbage.
Hold on.
Don't even. You see how he's hesitating? Just move on to.
Hold on.
So you gotta be like, well, yeah, it was trash.
Here's the thing. I want to say about BVS that
Take
I
out Lex, it wouldn't
saw.
have been so bad.
I saw BVS in
Take
the
out Lex
theater.
and Martha.
I saw BVS in the theater. Literally.
Stop copying that, please, man. Trash.
Let me answer the question. I saw BVS in the theater 4 times in the theater.
Really?
And then I bought the Blu-ray just so that I could get Zack Snyder's extended 3-hour cut. Because I just said there's something mesmerizing about this movie, like
He's
with
a
how bad it
masochist.
is.
Is that a masochist or is it a sadist?
But
No,
here's
I
the
think
thing.
He's a masochist.
Upon thorough review, I've come to the conclusion that the movie was trash.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do to fix
Thorough
it.
review. Oh my
I
god.
tried. I gave it everything that I
5
could.
times.
I tried, and I own the
You probably
film.
watched it when it came on HBO.
I did.
He's like,
I
"Ooh,
did."
BVS."
No, it mesmerizes you how bad it is.
Just stop.
There's something it does.
Next up on the list.
So next on the list,
My goodness.
since we're talking about the DCEU,
Yes.
um,
I thought you just said it's DCU.
DCU.
Okay.
So
Man, them DC movies.
apparently Zachary Levi has been cast as Shazam. We have a new Shazam.
Shazam.
And the director
Yeah.
of this film says that it will be the most lighthearted of the DC universe
That's right.
films.
Because you
yeah,
want to know
well,
why? Because
They're gonna
Shazam
go
is a
the-
child.
The
Billy Batson.
route.
Billy
I
Batson,
think,
man.
I think that they're
That's
going to
gonna be
go
amazing.
the big route. Remember Big with Tom
Exactly.
Hanks?
Or Lionel, because Lionel is a child. He's in a man's body, but he's a child. Same thing
Right.
like Big.
I'm
Yeah,
for it,
so
man.
I
I'm
and I
cool
think
with
it
it.
could work. Tell me a little bit about this Zachary Levi.
Oh, I have nothing on him.
You got nothing on.
Nothing. I mean, I know this guy was in Heroes. Was that on?
Heroes Reborn, not the original.
Oh, he
was in
wasn't?
the bad series.
So
And he was also in Thor movies, apparently.
Who? What?
doing what?
He had like bit roles. Go ahead, get the IMDb.
Do your Googles.
Right,
Do
right,
your
right.
Googles.
Got you.
But that's the thing. I
He's
don't.
the middle child between 2 sisters.
Right, and so I don't know if. I mean, obviously anybody can get bigger, but like, does he feel big enough? Because Shazam is supposed to be like a big
That's
big
who I
guy.
knew.
There's
That's
a thing
Chuck.
called.
That's
Chuck.
the guy who played Chuck.
from what? What?
It's just like how
No,
Batman was a
that
padded
TV
suit.
series Chuck.
Oh,
where he was
that's
like,
that's the series.
yeah, he was like a clerk, and then he was with
Yeah.
this attractive Secret
He's
Service
gonna wear
agent
padded
or
suits.
whatever.
Like how
And
Batman wears the padded spandex.
he got programmed to learn top secret information. I don't know.
Okay.
It was something wild, but he was Chuck. Yeah, he was just this kind of whimsical character. I don't like what.
Okay. Well,
But I guess he's older now. He's a grown man, so maybe he can, like you say, he can work out and.
I mean, look what Chris Pratt did. So
Good
Man,
point.
when they give you them trainers and them
Good
steroids,
point.
you'll be good.
hey,
Shout out to steroids.
the
Yeah.
juice is loose.
No, but I mean,
If you take
we'll see.
steroids under a doctor and they give you the right shit, you'll be fine.
Isn't this guy supposed to be what is what's the character's name? Not Black Adam.
The Rock is playing his villain, but they're
I
going to do
don't
a
give a
separate
crap
movie for
about
that.
the Shazam movie. Or Captain
Rock,
Marvel,
the
as he's
Rock
called.
The Rock will play Black Adam.
Okay.
And then they will bring them
Bring
together.
them together?
So they're giving them separate movies. Although honestly, I think they're going to bring The Rock into this movie to sell it, and then move
At the
from
end.
there.
I'm cool with the Shazam
Also,
is a dope character.
Wouldn't
man.
you like to see Black Adam versus Superman? So
That's what's gonna
Superman
happen
could
in the next Superman
really
movie.
have a fight.
Have a fight? Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
Ooh, but
That might happen in the next Superman movie.
Speaking of things that you're gonna want to see, there is one more piece of DCE or DC. Look, you know what I'm saying. There's one more piece of DC news.
Them DC comic movies.
Let's hear it.
Apparently,
What does the DC and DC Comics stand for?
the DC and DC
Detective Comics?
Detective
Yes,
Comics.
you got
yes.
it. You didn't have to
Aha!
ask the question.
Ding, 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 ding.
So there's one more thing
Yes, yes.
to discuss in the world of DC movies. Apparently, we have the Deathstroke movie is happening,
Yes.
Yes.
and
But this is what makes it good. Tell them why this is what's about to happen. Break it down.
I'm about to, sir.
Break it
The
down.
director?
The director, it will be directed. This is official that it will be directed by Gareth Edwards.
For the people who don't know, explain to them what else he's directed.
Okay, there is what might be
In your
the
opinion?
in recent history, the greatest martial arts film made in recent history.
I'm glad you said
that's what I would
recent.
give it.
What's
Yeah.
movie? What's the movie's name? That's
The
greatest?
Raid and
Raid?
the Raid 2.
Oh, the
Okay.
Raid Redemption.
The Raid and the Raid Redemption.
I
Oh
can
my
see it.
God.
This is the director of those films.
Savage.
And if they're making a
Such a savage
Deathstroke movie in that style,
And he's an
the
assassin.
and again, you can
Do you
put
think there will be comedy in this movie?
no.
Yeah,
It's just straight up assassin.
people
Have
are
you seen
dying.
The Raid?
That's how comic is.
No,
is
but I'm
gonna
just
be.
saying because the game has changed in terms of.
Have
No,
you
no,
seen?
no, no.
Have you seen the
Do
Raid?
you know
But
who
do you know-
Deathstroke is?
I know who Deathstroke is.
Have you seen The Raid?
But do you know who Deadpool is? Do you know
I
what
do.
Deathstroke's name is?
I understand.
His name is Slade Wilson. Deadpool is named Wade Wilson. He's a clone of Deathstroke.
Have you seen
But
the Raid?
He's
LeVar?
comedic, and he breaks the fourth wall, and he has like almost supernatural powers. Like
Right, LeVar. Have you seen the Raid?
The Raid.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
You seen the Raid Redemption?
No.
You got to see it, man.
Yeah. If
gotta
you,
see it.
you will understand what this movie is supposed to be.
Oof.
And
Oof.
that is the perfect character to do a raid style movie.
Oof.
Folks, this is a big deal.
Oof.
The right director with that character, we can see something special. And this doesn't need to be $150 million movie.
Nope.
You can do like a straight up, it's an escape movie. We're
The
trapped
Raid
in a
Mercenary.
Redemption was a $1.1 million budget.
That's what I mean.
He's just gonna wear his bright orange and blue suit and murder people.
Now, my question for you, LeVar,
Action-packed,
is:
man.
do you think they're gonna keep Joe Manganiello,
Yes,
the
why
wolf,
not?
the
He's
wolf?
built for it. He's intimidating. It's just like why not?
But
keep
can
him?
he do the kung fu?
Man, all that.
I mean,
crap
you
is
can
gonna
put
be
somebody in a
CG and
suit.
He's wearing a mask anyway. It doesn't matter.
No, I don't think this movie is gonna be heavy on CG. I think this is gonna be hardcore
Yeah.
fighting.
It's gonna
in
be
your
hardcore
face.
fighting. It's gonna be like John Wick.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be like the raid.
It's gonna be like the Raid, yeah.
That's-
But in that style of doing gun fu, you know what I'm saying? Gun fu, you know, that whole shooting people and doing, you know, fighting. and
honestly,
because like, I mean, I really want to see him in a Batman movie because it's like he's Batman's equivalent, you know, in terms of that fighting style and being like a ninja.
but honestly, I don't even think you're gonna need a lot of guns in this situation because that's what
It's
the
gonna be a
raid
lot
was.
of knives and
Somebody's
swords and
getting
quiet
punched
stuff.
in-
Swords.
somebody's getting punched
Ooh.
in the face, man.
Ooh,
A lot of times.
I just got the shivers.
But he's definitely gonna use
I got
guns.
the chills.
And he's gonna kill like 200-300 people in one scene or some crap.
I
A
can't
bunch of
wait.
people coming at him.
No, I think he's gonna go down a hallway and put Daredevil to shame.
He's gonna be
is
on
what I
some
think.
Bruce Lee stuff.
So
Hitting people with one hit, and then when he gets to the boss, you know, then it's a fight.
It's gonna be a boss
I'm
fight.
looking forward to it, man.
This is a big deal. This is the thing that I want to hear about. I don't know if I care about the next Batman movie. I do, but I feel like I care about this more.
Right.
So, but you know,
And what year is
details
this
are
supposed to drop?
sparse.
2019.
20 never. No. I don't know when
Did
it's
you
coming
hear any
out.
murmurs about the Venom movie? Is that still greenlit?
They're filming.
Yeah, I
They're
heard
filming
they
now.
have some stuff from the set. Have they shown what he looks like yet?
No. That's gonna be it's all CG, and they're working with Andy Serkis, but it's gonna be Tom Hardy inside being marked up with the CG doing acting.
You think they're gonna Thor, like how they did with what's her name, Kate Blanchett?
What about Kate Blanchett?
How they made her bigger?
I mean, they may, but I don't know that it matters because the suit would be bigger.
I'm just saying he gets bigger when he becomes Venom.
No, yes.
Yeah, that's
no,
like
absolutely
2-3 times bigger.
No,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
that's a given.
I hope so. I hope they don't do him still small like in Spider-Man 3.
No, yeah, but so
because he's 5 foot, like
the
5 or whatever it
this
is.
Thing is getting pretty serious.
Tom Holland's gonna be in it,
Can
right?
you go while I get us into the next count? Go to IMDb and look for the Venom movie and just give us the list of the cast because it's I'm telling you, you're not gonna be disappointed. So and while
was I getting sidetracked with that whole Venom thing? But it's still we're talking about current stuff.
hey man, Saul Goodman, Saul Goodman. And while you're looking at that up,
Tom Hardy, Jenny Slate, Michelle Williams, Riz Ahmed, Reed Scott, Scott Hayes, and those are rumored. Those are all rumored.
I thought they came out with the official list. But in any event, moving on.
Yes.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah, those are all rumored.
By the way, there's an amazing show, one of my top shows of all time. I'm not gonna rank it, but Spartacus.
Okay.
Spartacus may be
I've never watched that show.
You should. You don't know what you're missing.
Does it still come on?
No, it doesn't. It's done now. And by the way, you will cry at the ending. And this is the most manly show you'll ever watch, and you'll still cry at the end.
Have you seen Shaka Zulu?
Yeah, they're all rumored.
You'll cry at the end. So here's the thing. Stephen DeKnight, who was the showrunner on Spartacus, watch Spartacus. If you haven't, I don't know what's wrong with you. But he is the director on this film, and he made some statements saying that things are still up in the air, but conversations have been had at high levels that there is potential for a Pacific Rim and Godzilla and King Kong.
Yeah, I've heard of this.
So like a crossover, like
yes,
into
a crossover.
The monsters.
But the point is, the talks
everybody
are happening.
trying to build their universe.
Exactly.
They are going to, and I don't know how I feel. Like, how do you make that story work? Because this is in the future,
right?
And they're saying that the monsters just came around, so I don't know
Speaking
how
of
they're
monsters,
make
the
all that
Universal
work.
monster universe is dead, right?
It's dead. I mean, they're not. They're
Oh,
saying
it's
they're
dead
retooling,
already?
But
Wow.
Look, man.
Wow.
They tried.
Nobody cared.
They tried it with Young Frankenstein and the Dracula movie and Mummy. It's 3 bricks. Because it was
what was the other movies?
The Frankenstein movie.
They did a Dracula.
The Dracula movie. The Frankenstein movie.
Dracula the Untold, whatever.
The Frankenstein with Two-Face in it.
That wasn't a part of this.
It wasn't? You sure?
No.
When did Dracula
the first one that
out?
was supposed to be in it? Dracula came out like 2014 or something like that.
Yeah.
It was a while back. They wanted to tie that into something, and then when that didn't work, they're like, okay, we're gonna bring in
the Mummy,
the big guns. Let's bring in Tom Cruise and do the Mummy, and no one cared. It made money. It made like 400 and whatever million on $100 million budget. You know, Tom got paid.
Yeah.
That's a foregone conclusion. But anyway, Pacific Rim, Godzilla, and King Kong.
My only thing how I feel about that is what do you, if the guys who are in these what are those robots that they're in? Geysers or
I don't
who cares, man?
All right, so anyway, if So
they fake Voltron robots.
Right. If they're in those robots, those are supposed to be the quote unquote good guys.
It's like
right?
avatars.
Yeah.
So if those are the good guys and they're going to be fighting
Godzilla's the good
Godzilla,
Here's
No,
the
I
whole
mean,
thing.
look,
then are you having them
What's
kill
going to happen
Godzilla?
is they're going to fight Godzilla and King Kong, and then they realize, oh crap, this is the real threat. When the other
when
big monster
you
comes,
see them helping,
and then
this,
everybody
this is how they do it with these. Look, in
formula.
any
Because
superhero
otherwise I
movie,
say,
oh
it's the
look, we have a
formula.
misunderstanding. Now we're gonna fight on the same side.
Right. Okay. All right. Well,
All right.
whatever.
So now moving on. We talked about the fun stuff, but now we have to talk about something serious.
I so serious.
And so apparently, right now, everyone in Hollywood is a serial philanderer.
You can't escape the rape.
Or more. Easy. No. But this is honestly a serious topic. So now,
All right.
everybody knows the Harvey Weinstein talk. That was so last week. Today, all the talk is of
I'm
Kevin
sure
Spacey.
new allegations are coming out every day.
And
by every day you mean every minute.
right
now they're dishing some dirt on somebody.
Every minute.
So currently, if you're a fan of House of Cards like I was, there's some bad news. I hope you like the ending for season 5 because season 6 is not coming back. Netflix has officially canceled the show.
Yo, his publicist left him, right?
No. It's a mass defection from Kevin Spacey because
Crazy.
There are allegations that he has
It's a
sexually.
pederast.
Well, there's more than that though. So there's I can't remember the actor's name, but he said that 30 years ago when he was 14, Kevin Spacey made an unwanted sexual advance towards him at 14. Kevin Spacey put out a statement saying he apologizes he doesn't remember what happened, but if he did anything inappropriate, he apologizes, and he has decided to come out and live his true life as a gay man.
Right.
But the story didn't
predicted
stop.
this on Family Guy years ago.
The story didn't stop there because people dug around and started asking everyone he worked with, and apparently, people on the set, and yes, people on the set of his hit show House of Cards have said that he has created a toxic environment, and people do not feel safe around him. And apparently, there was a sexual assault from one of the crew members, and people don't want to give their names for fear of ruining
crew
their
members
careers.
say, "Yo, he grabbed me by the crotch."
Yes.
So yeah, man.
And Netflix has canceled that show, and obviously we've all heard of the Harvey Weinstein thing, which, by the way, there's a new charge, and the New York DA says that there's something that is not past the statute of limitations, and they are possibly going to pursue criminal charges, and he could go to jail.
Going to jail now?
Even LeVar, you were telling me something about Andy Dick as well. Apparently there are some things going on with him.
Yeah, Andy Dick is a serial dick grabber as well.
Right. And
but the difference with Andy Dick doing it, is that he's not a person who's in power or who he's using it.
So what
to
we're going to come
that
to in a second.
He's just
my point is
a sad
also
alcoholic.
Also, Brett Ratner, which is a big time producer in Hollywood, everyone's walking away from him because Olivia Munn has accused him of sexual assault. That's Psylocke in the X-Men movie, if you didn't know, if you watched Newsroom. So there's a lot. Mr. Woods, you wanted to add something?
Real quick, I'm just reading something real quick. It says, Mexican actor Roberto Cavazos shared a lengthy Facebook post that alleged that it was known within the acting community at the Old Vic Theater that Spacey preyed on young male actors. It seemed, and this is his words, quoting here, "It seems the only requirement was to be a male under the age of 30 for Mr. Spacey to feel free to touch us," he wrote. Old Vic Theater, where Spacey served as the artistic director between 2004 and 2015, distanced himself from the actor. There's people coming out left and right saying he was grabbing them by the balls.
What's crazy is life imitating art. If y'all remember American Beauty, where there was a scene where he was there working out in his garage, and the neighbor saw Kevin Spacey there and he thought that his son was giving him oral sex. You know, and then he killed him ultimately at the end of the movie. But that's just life imitating art. And like as before, as I said, how Stewie said, "Oh, I just escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement." So this is something that people knew were going on, similar to the.
Oh, that was a line in Family Guy.
Family Guy. It was years ago.
Family Guy stays snitching on.
It's similar to The Simpsons
Hollywood.
doing that. It's just like people been knew about these things. It's like similar to the Bill Cosby
but
thing.
you can get away with it.
Been knew about it. People been knew about it, and it was a joke that was going on. But now, because of the internet and how things can spread and go viral
real quickly,
it's just like now it's just like you can't get away with nothing anymore. The casting couch is something that's been around since the beginning of the film industry. You understand? And it's just like it goes.
Explain to people that may not know what the casting couch means.
Kevin Spacey, that's crazy.
The casting couch is, a lot of people do it. It's just like to advance in Hollywood, you have to get on the casting couch. You have to be willing to do whatever in order to say that that you have no morals. Basically, you have to look away from whatever it is that might be keeping you back from doing something, and you might have to perform a sexual act. I don't want to get too graphic,
right.
But it's just like I can't feel sorry for someone if you knew. You were told a gun wasn't put to your head to do these things. You were told, if you do this, you'll get this. You'll get this role. You'll get whatever. You'll get, So you did it to become famous. So how can I feel sorry for you if you made the choice?
All right,
Nobody gets something for nothing. I'm not saying for somebody
to
use their position of power against someone, it's just like it's a predatory thing to do. But if you agreed to do it and then you reap the benefits of it, how can I feel sorry for you? You sold your soul. It's just like you laid down and you did it because you knew it would get you someplace,
right?
And then you got more roles because of that, and now you're a millionaire because you gave up your morals. But
that's the devil
you made
selling
the choice.
Candy, man. Everybody wants some candy.
You made your choice though, but it's still wrong for somebody to do it. But if you took the candy, if it's just like if you Eve and you ate the apple, it's just like you still ate the apple.
Okay, I just want to be very careful here, and you can clarify this, but I don't want us to be in a place where we're three dudes that are victim blaming.
I'm not blaming victims because I said it could be a dude or a man or a woman. I'm not blaming anyone, but if you did something to advance your career, and then you reap the benefits of it, it's just like, am I supposed to feel bad for you? The person who did it is still scum, but that's just Hollywood.
No, but I guess what I'm asking is hang on a second. Is that part of the problem that we just say and accept, well, this is just Hollywood? Should we accept that? Because if you go for an interview on a normal job, let's just say you're working at a bank and you want to make $100,000 a year or whatever, you want to make a middle class salary, and they say, well, would you be okay if your wife went on a job interview and was just like, well, if you want this job, you're going to have to get on that couch? Is that a thing that's cool that we should just accept?
About life, it's just like these Hollywood dudes are some freaky deaky dudes. But in life, it's just like when you're not in a position of power, you can say things and get away with it. It's just like I can sexually harass my female coworkers, but a male manager cannot do the same thing. Like I can do it and get a laugh.
Are you feeling sorry for these people now? What do you?
Right. No, but it's just like if you're in a position of power, you can't do those things. You feel me? Because it's just like as a man, just even to take it outside of like for monetary gain or whatever, as a man, you say things in the hopes of that maybe if I say this, she'll do it. But if you're doing it because you're in a position of power, then it becomes a scummy thing. If you're just doing it,
but here's the problem.
Because
right?
if you ask a chick, if you just say yo blah blah blah, because you're trying to see if she with it, you know what I'm saying. But if you're doing it to like to ask somebody to prostitute themselves, then it's like a scummy thing to do.
But well, firstly, I here's the problem. Now we can say like when you're in a position of power, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But what about the people who are on the other side of this that are not in a position of power, that do not have a voice? Because this
Right.
happens to people, men
There's
and
a lot
women,
of people
every
who got-
day
yeah.
who just have to shut up and take it.
Yeah.
And they might work at a grocery store.
Yeah.
And so my
And
point
they're just
is,
trying to feed their kids.
this is just another workplace. So should we take it? And I do have, I'm not like throwing you under the bus, because I actually have something. I do think that there is some nuance lost in these discussions that we're having about this, but I do think we need to take care to try to step outside of ourselves, because as a man, my default reaction is like, well, I like Kevin Spacey, or I like, the Weinstein Company puts out a lot of movies. I like Bill Cosby. I don't know these women. And the first thing you do is give them the benefit of the doubt. Right? So I get that, but sometimes we got to step outside of ourselves and understand that we may not be able to understand those little things that women or men have to come and put up with and accept. And if we don't say anything about it, then it doesn't change. And if you want to make an omelet, sometimes you got to break a few eggs, and this might be an uncomfortable time, but it's a conversation to be had. Now, that said, I do think we are losing a little bit of the nuance here when we discuss, because there's a pendulum that swings, right? And this is a sea change. And I do find it, I don't know if alarming is the word or interesting is the word, that now, before people are actually taken to court, everyone's tried in
the court of public opinion. Yeah.
And so, yes, we need to have an environment where people feel safe and comfortable to report these things and speak about these injustices that happen. But at the same time, do we end a person's career because of an accusation that has not been
So do you believe
proved yet? So can we actually have that conversation and have it be productive without sounding like you're victim blaming, or without sounding like you are, taking the side of the man?
I don't think
but not even taking the side of the man. Let's talk about Kevin Spacey. What is your thoughts on that? On the preying on underage boys? Because that's different with the getting a role at Harvard. That's a completely different animal.
Okay.
What's your thoughts on that? And should his career be over?
Should Michael Jackson's career have been over?
Michael Jackson was never found guilty of anything.
Was Kevin Spacey found guilty?
He apologized for it.
He said he didn't remember.
He said he was drunk. If he did it, he's very sorry. That is admission of guilt.
No. But
Michael Jackson never admitted any guilt. He was never found guilty of it.
But he paid the person.
People.
He did pay
also
people.
paid people.
And people say that that's an admission of guilt.
He said he was sorry he ever did that. Because it's just
Michael Jackson?
Michael Jackson said he was sorry he ever did that.
Kevin Spacey just said he was sorry.
Yeah, is that not
because it's
admission
just
of
like,
guilt?
I understand Michael's psychology of why he did it.
Because you're a fan of Michael?
But Michael never.
And I'm not coming at Michael. I don't think Michael did it. But my point is,
even if you do your Googles, the person who said he did it said it never happened. And
I understand that.
The father who
I understand that.
killed himself.
Okay,
so
but
do your Googles.
Okay, but now you're saying that with hindsight. We just heard this accusation.
I believed it all along.
You believed it all along because you had a feeling. But my point is,
and I had a feeling.
My point about Kevin Spacey is,
Somebody
what
can
if
feel
this
the same
dude
way
comes
about Kevin
by later
Spacey.
and says, "Yeah, I made that shit up."
Exactly. Off of
Right?
BuzzFeed.
But now
you're
we
saying
just
that it was known that somebody said it's known that Kevin Spacey.
no. This is what people are saying about him now, and I'm
So
saying
you
there were
think that the
multiple
Family Guy thing
accusations.
got it from out of the air, or that is something been talked about for a while?
Look,
it's just like with the.
Do you think that people make those jokes about Michael Jackson touching boys out of the air? So my point is this:
it's easy for you to say because he's around kids. I mean, it's just like.
So if you're giving Michael Jackson the benefit of the doubt, but not Kevin Spacey, this is
I'm
my
not
point.
trying him. I'm asking you your opinion.
My opinion is I don't know because it hasn't been proven. It hasn't been who's really fact checking these things. Has he been convicted in a court of law? And this is my point.
And him saying that he apologized because he's like, if it happened, it was like them doing.
And what if later on he says,
over 30 years ago.
What if later on he says, I should have never said that. It didn't happen. What if later
Michael
on
Jackson
in
never said,
hindsight,
whatever.
he paid him though.
We're not getting into that. We're talking about Kevin Spacey, so leave Michael Jackson out of this.
But this is the point. Like you're jumping.
He's dead. Okay, let the dead rest.
And but this is what I'm saying.
Don't you put that shit on Michael Jackson.
You are giving one person the
mad
benefit
over
of the
there.
doubt, and this is the problem.
was never
This is
found
the
guilty.
inherent. This is the inherent problem with all of this.
He was tried in the
like,
court of public opinion, and he was tried in real court, and he was found not guilty. So there you go.
But guess what? Kevin Spacey has not been tried in a real court. And there are a lot of people that still believe Michael Jackson did that shit.
Right.
And I'm not trying
Michael Jackson didn't do that shit though.
I'm not trying to like bring anything bad against Michael Jackson. What
How
I'm
dare
saying
you
is,
talk about Michael
what
Jackson?
I'm saying is
I'm mad at you over this.
we should
man.
have
I'm not
a
gonna talk to you
discussion
for a week after
about
Yeah, very mad.
we should really try to have this discussion about what we're doing
Talking
in the
about
court
Kevin
of public
Spacey.
opinion, because this is bigger. And we
How
can say,
you-
well,
how-
I don't
yo,
like this guy because right now I can point to Bill Cosby and you're going to find all kinds of excuses for Bill Cosby.
How you think compare Michael Jackson to Guy?
Look, Bill Cosby, right? So this is the thing. Because these are my favorite people, so they didn't do anything.
Are you,
You know what I
picking
mean?
them?
But these people who I don't follow like that or I don't like them, I'm with the court of public opinion. He did it, end his career. And if he did it, fuck that guy. Right? So
Ooh,
we're not
dropping
supposed to
F-bombs
curse,
now?
but if we're talking about a pedophile, then I think it's warranted. And I don't apologize for the curse.
Yeah.
My point is we don't know that
We
yet.
fire, make we
And so
burn them.
I just think we're in this place where because for so long people have not been able to come forward about these things in the aggregate.
Right.
Now, if somebody says something like that's it. Like you can't even mention recourse for the accused because then you sound like you're a terrible person. And I'm not on the side of anybody who is abusing their power or is fucking is molesting kids or doing any of that. I'm not on their side, but I'm saying like if we're trying all of these things in the court of public opinion and it's just a snap, Netflix, all of these people just drop these people. That's it.
Right.
So I find that, you know, I think it's something that to talk about. But you got anything you want to just add to this?
Well, for me, I've been pretty consistent that I'm a believer of the genesis of things, and so obviously you can't go back to 1806 or 19 whatever to say when Hollywood was founded. But my thought process is this isn't so much as the individual. This is an environment, a toxic, sick environment where individuals, pedophilia and individuals who sexually assault and potentially forcibly put women in positions, men or women, child stars. This stuff has been going on for a long
Corey Feldman tried to tell y'all.
time, for a very long time. Beyond, and that is disgusting. And you can point out the individual, but this is an environment that singers and artists and others and have discussed multiple times, or they'll suppress it or whatever, or get themselves high off of drugs and things like that to numb the pain. But it's almost where some people go, well, it is what it is because I want to advance my career. So
People in Hollywood are sick.
And so at one point, because they amass so much wealth or power or esteem, and they're not in front of the camera, they are a part of this agency or they're a part of this corporation or whatever. I'm not going to name. Let me not even say something like that. But they're this picture group or whatever, and they have these executives and number of people, and then you get into that casting couch or situation, and they're just putting these people on the conveyor belt where, hey, you want to be a star? Hey, you want to do this? Hey, you want to do that? This is what you got to do. And so these individuals who come in there and they're wide-eyed and they're just like, I want to come to Hollywood and I want to make it big, and then they're lied to. And when you travel to LA and you see how people interact and talk, and you've been to LA and I've been there, and how people talk, everyone's selling you BS. And it's very hard to distinguish.
I mean, it is a city full of people who tell lies for a living. I'm talking about actors.
But that's a great point. But I mean, everyone is telling you, oh yeah, I know someone, because everyone's trying to get on. So as you said, if it's a city where it's full of people telling lies for a living, you don't know how to distinguish what's truth. You don't know who's really on your side and who's not. And so for me, with these actors who do these things, Spacey or whomever, that's one part of the problem. There's a bigger machine that you have to really, cleanse.
If Spacey did.
But that's a huge.
You got to add that to all of these people.
You're right. That's if, but that's a huge machine. And in terms of that pendulum swinging, I really believe that it's the energy that's in the air or in the system. I'm also a believer of energy and things like that, where people are fed up, and I don't, and there's, and yes, and where they say, you've been living off the fat of the land, and you haven't even been doing righteous by it. You've been given all, as you said earlier about like, heavy. What is it? How's the line go? Heavy the head who wears
heavy
the crown.
Is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah,
yes.
And so you have all of this wealth, you have all of this power, you have all of this money, and you're sick with it, and you abuse it. You're not even.
That's how rebellion starts.
Yes, and
this is in its own way a rebellion. What's happening right now?
And again, this is just going to be one of many. Now, what I am afraid of,
are we going to overcorrect?
And yes,
let's call it a tie.
And that's what you touched on, and you said it very eloquently. That listen, are we going to get into the space where we're just blowing the whistle on anything and everything, and some people are just calling in just to do it, and there's no, you don't even have facts, but at the same time, man, you got to cleanse this stuff, man. This is not right. No woman should go through this. No dude should go through this. No child star should go through this. That sickness that's whack. And
this
people
stuff
are trying to
definitely
normalize
goes
this
on,
stuff.
and it's been
whack.
going on.
Get out of here, man.
Because if you look back, really in the 80s, like all them child stars ended up on drugs or OD'd or whatever. So this is a fact.
The pain, man.
Because
one
stuff
more
goes
thing,
on.
They're numbing the pain.
It's absolutely not just Hollywood. Yeah. Like Hollywood is on Front Street right now.
Right. Yeah, and you're right about that.
This is going on.
This is prevalent
everywhere.
in all
and again,
forms of
I think
corporations.
the thing we need to think about is, why is it even a thing where a person has to think, well, I'm gonna come up by doing this thing. Right?
But what I'm saying,
if we're in a world where you have to think that like that's an option.
But I mean, the genesis of that is that we don't have this one specific person, but just the fact that people have been getting fat off of this type of mindset to say, this is what it is. I make the money, you S my D. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. I make the money. This is what you got to do. I make the money. This is how you, if you want to get ahead, you got to do this for me. Like, that's corny.
Everybody's got a price.
That's corny. That's disgusting. That's disgusting to me. And that should be purged. You know what I mean? Those type of people in all forms of business, in all forms of life. No, man. Like, it should be unity. It should be, we trying to make this thing right for everybody, for our kids, all of that good stuff, man. You know what I mean?
A lot of things should be.
And they're not. I know. Trust me. I'm reality based. So I'm reality based, but it's just not cool.
All right, man. Let's wrap this thing up, man. You got anything else you want to say, Mr. Johnson?
Basically, Harvey Weinstein is definitely guilty. I don't know about.
He's also connected to Disney.
Yeah, I mean, great movies come out of the Weinstein Company, but that doesn't mean that he's not guilty of these things. And it's a scummy thing to do, to use a position of power to get somebody to do a sexual favor, especially when you could just pay hookers. Come on, man. Backpage exists. Like, why are you doing this stuff? You know what I'm saying?
Stop it.
It's just reality. I'm a realist. Come on. Don't act like y'all don't know what Backpage is and Craigslist. Come on.
What is Backpage? Put me in.
No. You are done with your final thoughts.
Hey,
Mr.
man.
Woods, what do you got?
Look, man.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts is that I truly, as you said it before, like, there's a lot of should versus what's real, but that pendulum is swinging, and I don't know how far it's going to go, but Weinstein to potentially Kevin Spacey or whomever, those are just individuals. I'm saying that there's a system that allows these things, and that's what you really have to look at. The system that continues to put the people and the faces in there that has the big bucks that we don't know about, that you don't see, that's not in your living room, who are saying the same things and doing the same awful things and these wicked behaviors. That's what needs to be broken. That wheel needs to be broken. You know what I mean?
Preach.
And that's a harder wheel to break.
Well, I don't know. I just want to sort of wrap things up and say that we all need to look at our preconceived notions of the world, and the reason these things happen is because we accept things simply because they are and have been, and it is what we know. And so we have to. The key here, and I don't want to be like soft, but the key here is empathy, right? And the lack thereof is why these things happen. And so when a person is accused and we jump in our corners for who we want to protect or who we want to throw under the bus, it is because we're thinking it's not me, or I can't relate. So I think that we need to have these uncomfortable conversations, and maybe there is a purge that needs to happen, but we need to look at the nuance of these things and understanding that while everyone should feel comfortable to come forward, and if you are abusing your power, you are top scum, but also trying people in the court of public opinion never leads to good things.
Very true.
So
tread lightly, right?
Spanish Inquisition is all I'm gonna say. Look it up. Do your Googles.
Yeah, I want to say one last thing. In no way do I endorse him comparing Michael Jackson to Guy. But yeah.
Okay. On that note, why don't you tell them where they can find you and say goodbye to the people?
At the particulars.
At the particular.
That really needs to be his
really the particular.
His handle.
That's happening.
Should be his handle.
All right. Where can they find you again?
Why Woods, Why Not? Or you can catch some photography, some of my poems, writings, thoughts, and so forth at whywoodswhynot.com.
And it's me, your host. You can find Steve Johnson, and you can find me at your favorite social network, as long as it is not Snapchat, at Steve A.M. Johnson.
In no way does I endorse that.
I hate
episode,
their guts, but hang on a second, because I got to let the people know. We got other things going on. This is our weekly news show where we talk about the news of the week, but we have reviews. We just did a Thor spoilers and non-spoilers review.
Watch all the videos.
We have a show about why... The Matrix Reloaded may be the best Matrix in the franchise. I said it. You're going to have to watch to find out. But we want to know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Because if you don't like and subscribe, then we can't feed our kids. And you don't want that on your content.
What more do you want from me?
What do you want from us? We're giving you content. So like, subscribe.
A light bill is $13,000
Also, we have another show coming out, and it's not going to be around movies. It's going to be around politics. It's going to be called The Second Page. And you will be hearing more about that shortly. We're going to expand the network. There will be more shows. If we can get Mr. Woods to do this sports show he was talking about, if we can get LeVar to do this music show he was talking about, all these things are going to happen. But we thank you for coming on this journey with us, and we're gonna do this more. We're gonna have more things to talk about, and we want to hear what you have to say.
You want to talk about.
So thank you, and shut up. I'm trying to finish this thing. We are out of here.
Matrix 3 is the best.
Matrix